Whenever you talk about Node.js, you will almost always hear talk about the mean stack. So what is the mean stack, and how does Node fit into it? That's the subject of this section. Our first lecture, MongoDB, Express, AngularJS, and Node.js. These are the four technologies that make up the mean stack. Big word alert. A stack, or a technology stack. That's simply a term that defines the combination of all the technologies you're using to build a piece of software. So your database system, your server-side code, your client-side code, and everything else that comes along for the ride in order for the software to function. What is the stack of technologies? And we say stack because one builds upon another, and they all work together in order to actually build the software. So that's all a stack really means. And a stack is often optional. There are pieces that can be interchanged. You might use a different database system for one piece of software and then another database system for another. So a stack is not you must follow this set of technologies, but simply which technologies did you choose to use in order to build your software. And in some cases, software technologies work so well together, they become a very popular stack, a very popular set of technologies to use to build software. And that's the case with the mean stack. The word mean is really just an acronym, MEAN, and each letter stands for a particular technology that, when combined, makes it very easy to build web applications. We've actually already seen 3 of the 4 letters. M stands for MongoDB, which is where you store your data. You store your data, in this case, in documents. It's a NoSQL database. So we're not storing data in tables, but in documents that includes both the structure and the data, each document. And that structure looks an awful lot like JSON or JavaScript object literal notation. The E stands for Express. And as we've seen, Express is a JavaScript framework that makes things like routing, writing APIs, and working with HTTP a lot easier for building the server side of your code. AngularJS is something we haven't seen yet. That's what the A stands for. And it's a JavaScript framework for managing code and UI in the browser. It removes a lot of the manual work that you might have when building the interface, the part that people are really clicking on and using, the part that people see, and dealing with connecting the client and the server when it comes to that client-server model of sending requests and receiving responses. So AngularJS is very popular because it helps us do this a lot more easily. And it helps us build applications that have a better user experience by helping the interactions and the flow of the person using the interface for that to be simpler and smoother. And the N, well, you can guess what that stands for. Node.js. The thing we've been focused on this entire course. JavaScript on the server, which handles HTTP requests and responses, and a whole lot more. Now let me ask you a question. Do you see something consistent and similar across all 4 of these technologies? Do you see something that they all have in common? Well, sure, and the word is JavaScript. Node.js is JavaScript on the server. Now, Express is one of those pieces of the stack that you have to have Node along with it. It's simply meant to work with Node. But Express itself is also just JavaScript. AngularJS is JavaScript as well. It's JavaScript running on the browser, but it's still the same programming language. And while MongoDB isn't exactly JavaScript, it stores data in a format that JavaScript loves. So these 4 technologies work together very naturally. And that's why they've become such a popular combination that they've been given a name, the mean stack. Now, that doesn't mean you have to use all 4 of these. You could choose Node and Express in a different database, like MySQL or others. You don't have to use Angular on the client. You could be doing something simpler and simply be using jQuery, or using other technologies that are out there like React or Ember, other client-side JavaScript technologies. But Angular is extremely robust and has all the pieces you need to build the UI portion of a web application, and for that reason is extremely popular, as well as being backed by Google. So MongoDB, Express, Angular, and Node as a combination of technologies is a great combination because it works so well. And you notice, of course, that the order of things was just made in order to spell mean, not really the order that things would be on the stack. The order of the stack would really be Mongo, where your data sits, then Node on top of Mongo, which is getting and sending the data to the database, then Express on top of Node, which is making it easier to build the APIs, and then Angular at the top, which is getting and receiving that data from those APIs. But that's okay, because we just want to more easily be able to express the four technologies we're talking about, and so we generally call it MEAN, the mean stack. Now this course is not about the mean stack, it's about Node, as we've seen. But since we're talking about Node and want to understand it, it's important to understand how it fits in the mean stack, or even other similar combinations where you have JavaScript running on the client and JavaScript running on the server. And that's where a lot of developers can get tripped up, even ones who have used the stack for a while of putting JavaScript on the server and JavaScript that's being downloaded to the browser. So we want to look at this, understand the mean stack a little bit better, and understand why it's so popular.